So to complete your shades chart, you're going to start with your base color and gradually add small smidgens of black to your pure color in order to make it darker. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to actually start with my pure color. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my flat brush and just plug in my pure color. Okay, so I'm holding my paintbrush by the grip, talking to you, and I am attempting to paint inside the lines as best I can. Okay. Craftsmanship to this morning, not so hot, but that's all right. This isn't horrible. Okay. At this point in time, I'm going to rinse and blot my paintbrush, and I'm going to start to turn this red into shades of red. So think maroons, really dark. Can't even think of the name of the color. I'm going to grab my small smidgen brush, my small round, and then for my first shade, I'm going to grab just a small amount of it from my paint palette. I'm going to mix it into my pure color. The important part with this is to mix it thoroughly. Okay, so it's no longer swirly and awesome. And before you plug it in, please test blob it. If it looks very similar to the one before it, like this one does, please rinse and blot your paintbrush and go back and grab another smidgen. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna grab another smidgen of black, mix it in. That looks a little bit better, I think. So I will plug that in using my flat for my first shade. Okay. So again, hold that paintbrush by the grip. Now, before you apply any of your colors to your color chart, please make sure that they are incrementally darker. So the test blob is a technical term. It is important because it's going to show you what your color looks like on your paper prior to you painting the whole section in, okay? So I'm going to rinse and blot my paintbrushes, and I'm going to grab another small amount of black, mix it in, okay? Please mix it past the swirly and awesome state. So mix the entire crater because you'll probably need most of this paint moving forward, okay? Test blob it. It does look a smidge darker, but I am going to actually add another smidge of black. I'm gonna see if I can make it darker than that. There we go. Mix it past its swirly and awesome state. Yep, that's looking pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to grab my flat and apply it. So we're heading toward maroon status with this. Right now there's a lot of water in my paint, so anytime your tempera paint looks transparent, it means you have too much paintbrush stool in there, too much water, so always use your paper towel. All right. Next one, I'm going to go ahead and rinse and blot. Grab another smidgen, mix it past its swirly awesome state. Please mix that whole crater of paint. All right, and before I apply it, I am going to test blob it. Okay, so this right now is what it looks like. That actually looks pretty good. I'm gonna make it a smidge darker though. Okay. All right, mix it past its swirly and awesome. I'm making these a little bit darker overall because I know that tempera paint dries a little bit lighter because it has a high water content. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and plug that in with my flat. All right, and then last but not least, I'm gonna rinse and blot my paintbrush. I'm gonna go all in with this last one. So I'm probably gonna glob a decent amount of black in here, maybe even a couple times to see if I can make it darker than the one that I just made. Okay, so I'm gonna grab a glob. This is a glob. I'm gonna mix it thoroughly in here. And I'm going to test blob it. Okay, and I think I wanna make it darker. Okay, so I'm going to glob it again. And it's funny because red with black in it, it kind of looks like a really, really dark brown. Yeah, so it kind of looks like a really, really dark brown. So I'm gonna grab my flat and plug it in. Okay, so as you go, don't forget your craftsmanship. Holding the paintbrush by the grip, make sure anytime you're applying your paint that you're using, in most cases, I would say probably the smaller flat. Make sure you're mixing the whole crater of paint because you will need it for your test strip here, for your color value scale. And then make sure that you're doing that test blob, right? So that you're mixing your color and then testing it on the paper. And if it doesn't look dark enough, go back and add more paint to it, okay, and mix it thoroughly. So this, we've got a really nice value scale. Value scale just shows you lights and darks of a color. This just happens to be, you know, light to dark here. And this is looking pretty awesome, okay?